It is 8:11, the time in the studios of Q95. Stick around, we're coming right back with tonight's In the Spotlight radio show.
Personalities, educational and informative topics and issues, intriguing and entertaining. A must listen to In the Spotlight, Monday nights from 8 p.m. on Q95.
You'll be fine. Tell sis you're going to be just fine. Hello, and good evening. It is 15 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. It's another beautiful day, well, it's night now, in the beautiful nature island of the world. Discover Dominica, and that's what the cricketers from India and some of the West Indies players are doing right now. They're going to be discovering Dominica, even if it's for a competition, but we are happy to have you here in Dominica and welcome you to our lovely island, where the people are the most hospitable you'll find anywhere in the world. If you tuned in to the program tonight, it is an absolute pleasure to have you for tonight's In the Spotlight radio show. It is our pleasure, both mine and that of my guest, as he'll tell you once we do the introductions. Let me just say hello to all the listeners of Q95 FM radio And the team here at Q95, always so very supportive of the program and what we do here on a Monday night. We also would like to say good evening to those of you who are already tuned in via the Facebook Live on the In the Spotlight radio show page, or via the In the Spotlight group called Spotlighters by the In the Spotlight radio show. So if you would like to be a part of our group, actually today we had a chat amongst us, and you know, I was asking persons, tell me what you would like to learn about my guest tonight, you know, and I was pretty happy with the response. Some of the regulars, a couple new persons came on and you know, commented in the chat. So thank you to all those of you, you know, who participated and joined us for that. So tonight is going to be a good one. I think so. I think it's going to be another good program because we're talking about, you know, a gentleman who from the young age of 15 already knew what it was to work hard and to work very hard, as you're going to learn on the program. I was stunned by what the gentleman said to me in terms of the job he was doing at the age of 15. So we're going to get to know about that. We're going to get to know about his business, how he started, what he did before he started, who he worked with, how did that person influence his decision, you know, to move on to his own, the disasters that came along, the pandemic, how did all of that affect him, you know, on the corner that he is on a daily basis, and even before that. Was he harassed by police? Was he asked to move? So many questions tonight for our guest, Bernard St. Clair, aka BOLO, and we'll say hello to him in just a while. We also just want to big up tonight Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited. They always provide us with water because, you know, when you're doing all of this talking, you normally need some water to sip on, you know. So we thank Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited. Our folks at the Great Old House, the kitchen is closed tonight, so unfortunately, but guess what? You guys are going to owe me and BOLO our dinner for tonight, right? So good evening to you, Steve, and your team. We definitely understand. And we'll catch up with, you know, our dinner. You owe us, you owe me, you owe BOLO our dinner. I want to say hi to GK, Jordan Jerome, and Jordan, you know, assists me with my flyer, you know, making sure that I have the flyer to go out, and including my logo on the video. And GK is celebrating his first anniversary. Happy anniversary to you, GK, and your lovely wife, Yanis. She's also so very helpful. Whatever GK is doing for me, you know, she's there cheering him on and cheering me on as well. So I really just want to say thank you to you guys, and I wish you many more anniversaries to come. We always ask you to please follow our pages. So In the Spotlight radio and TV shows page, make sure that you look for that and you support us. If you're listening via the radio, just click on Facebook, search for In the Spotlight radio and TV shows, and please follow us. Sorry, as I mentioned, you see the reason for the water. We also have our group, and we're asking you to join the group. It is not a WhatsApp group, it is a Facebook group, and it is called Spotlighters by the In the Spotlight radio show. So search for that, and please, you know, follow us and become a part of our family, a part of our circle. You know, someone said to me today, you know, the work that you're doing with this program is just exceptional, and I take it. You know, I always say to people, I take my flowers, I accept my flowers while I am alive. I know it is an amazing program. There is nothing, you know, like hearing people share their stories. And just not just sharing the stories, BOLO, I'm coming to you shortly, but the opportunity to motivate others, the opportunity to inspire others. This is what this program is about. And that is why I do my best, you know, tired or not, I make the effort once I'm able to be here on a Monday night to bring you the In the Spotlight radio show. I ask nothing of you but to tune in, share, please share the live of the program, so share it to other persons who probably would not normally join, will get the opportunity to come. and learn and grow and be inspired by what we do on this program. So simply comment, participate, share the live, and just be there with us during the course of this program. So we're getting ready to roll with Bernard Sinclair, and that's for those of you who took part in the poll that I did in the group. I gave you 3 options as to his real name. I think I said Byron Sinclair, Bernard St. Clair, and I think I said Byron St. Clair, Saint with S-A-I-N-T. Of course, everyone who took part, they were correct and said it's Bernard St. Clair. Yes, and we're going to get to start this program, ladies and gentlemen. We really want to thank you again for joining us and being a part of this. We know you could have had other things that you have to do tonight, but you decided that you are going to be here with us. And with that, we go across and say good evening and welcome to the In the Spotlight radio show, the studios of Q95 and the In the Spotlight Facebook page. We are happy to have you. You look very sharp, very dapper tonight, and we thank you for looking good for us tonight, Bolo.
Thank you for that. It's a great opportunity to be here tonight, and I was always looking for that opportunity to be in the spotlight.
But guess what, Bolo? Nothing happens before it's time, eh?
Definitely.
And Bolo is celebrating 20 years.
Hey, man. I'm grateful for that 20 years. 20 years, that's, as the ad said, or Franklin put it, 20 is plenty. 20 is plenty. So Bolo is celebrating.
Yes.
So you all can look forward this month and for the promotion of Bolo's mobile hot dogs. 20 years celebrating, and it's going to have some interesting time. We're going to have some nice pan, and I'll tell you later on.
Wow.
We're going to play the pan, and we'll have some gospel singers on the Saturday. So the Friday and the Saturday, just look forward to that. And even children will be getting, from 16 and on, they will be getting hot dogs. And just imagine they don't have to pay a dollar.
They don't have to pay. I'm already excited.
Yes.
I'm already excited
it's
for this.
Good time, yeah. So I can say good evening to all those who are listening to Q95 and those who are on the Facebook page in the Spotlight Radio Show. I'm so grateful to be here tonight, and I'm so inspired by the lines. You know, I always tell her, I always think, and I just told her that her voice is a very appealing voice. You know, it's a voice that can calm you if you're angry or so. So I thank God for being here on this program tonight, and we welcome your listening ear and those who are looking on Facebook, who can see it live and see and hear what we are saying. So I'm grateful to be here tonight, and I thank my church people. I think they are listening right now. My sister in New Jersey is listening, and the rest of my family, they are tuning and they're glued, listening tonight.
And we're so happy to have them.
Amen.
We're so happy to have them. And Bolo, I'm so happy to have you as well. And you, I'll tell you this though, you're on my list of my prospective guests,
yes.
Right? But then for whatever reason, we just had not done you as yet.
Right.
And your wife then told me a few months ago that you are celebrating your 20th anniversary.
Yes.
And I thought, perfect time
perfect opportunity
to have Bolo on. And Bolo, we will learn during the course of this program that while you're celebrating 20 years of Bolo's mobile hot dog, you were doing this for some time before that.
Yes.
Plenty time before that.
Plenty time.
As a matter of fact. And you know what I like already on this program, Bolo? I love the spirit that you have. It's a nice warm one.
Yeah,
and the smiles and whatever, I just know we're going to have a fantastic time on the program. And of course your customers, you must big them up.
Yes, yes. Big up all the customers of Bolo's Mobile Kizzy out there. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and being my customers and overseas. And when you all come down, you all always warm my heart when you all come down. You know, I think people are thinking that I need awards in national awards, but you guys make it what it is. You guys give me the passion that I have because I see your genuine love for me. And I thank you all for your love and your support.
And as we learn as well, that genuine love that you speak of in terms of your customers, you felt it very strongly, and we'll tell them when you felt that love very, very strongly during this whole journey of Bolo's mobile hot dogs. Bolo, let's get to know you a little bit more. And first of all, the name Bolo, I'm interested and intrigued in knowing, where did Bolo originate from?
Right. Bolo originated from, at the time I was going to mixed school, and that mixed school was where the apartments is right now at by Karam's, Apni Garage.
Right.
Opposite there, that's where that mixed school was at the time. It wasn't because I was big or anything. I wasn't that bulky, so it's not because I was bulky I got the name Bolo. But it's interesting that at break we were wrestling, and we were wrestling kung fu and Chinese, that kind of a thing when we used to go cinema and watch that karate movies and so on. So a guy was swinging a stick at me at that time. And so I decided that, okay, this guy is swinging the stick, and I said, well, okay, I think I can take one shot of that, and then grab that stick and beat that guy. So the guy was swinging, so then I took the shot and I grabbed that stick from that guy. When I grabbed the stick, the guy took off. When he took off, right away I heard a guy, someone in the back saying like, "Hey, Bolo." I said like, and that guy, he used to live River Street. The nickname was Big Man, and he gave me that name, and that name stuck. That name stuck with me up until now. And people usually wonder how did I get that name?
Yes.
Bolo.
And here we have it.
Yeah.
So all the man said was, "Hey, Bolo." Was that based on the tactic?
That's based on the tactic. Because knowing Bolo in the Kung Fu movies, and that name is Bone Breaker, it seemed like I was going to break that guy's bones.
So Bolo was a name?
Yes, in the movies. Yeah, Bolo. Yeah.
Okay.
Like in Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon. Yeah, that Bolo.
That Bolo.
Yes.
Me Bolo patisa fight kosa.
No. It just took one act to just see, the movements in that, So the guy said, check, well, he maybe saw that part in me.
Yes. So there you have it, guys. One of the first things that probably you didn't know was how Bolo got the name Bolo. And there it is. Bolo was playing most Kung Fu fighter, right? And somebody saw that and called him Bolo. I like that Bolo.
Yeah,
and it stuck with you to the point where that's all people know.
That's all people know.
Is Bolo. And even in knowing your real name. So I know your real name.
Yeah.
But to me, you will always still just be Bolo.
Yes. That's it. People love the name Bolo. And if anybody comes looking for me and they ask for Bernard St. Clair, they wonder, who's that guy? Who's that? But if you ask for Bolo, you'll definitely find me.
Definitely find you. Bolo, let's talk about where Bolo roots. Where are your roots embedded?
Oh, my roots are embedded in Collio.
Collio?
Yes, Collio.
What part of Collio?
I've got the Charles family. They are my cousins. That's my mom's sister. But she passed some years ago. And I have Sarah and all of them in Collio, and you know the roots goes on. And I just call it. I like if I would say that if I would have been looking for somebody, I think I would not have gone to Collio, because maybe it would have been somebody would have been my family.
Yes.
So I've got a lot of family down in Collio, you know, and my mom, my dad is from there as well, and my dad was Robert St. Clair, my mom was Emilta John Baptist, you know, and maybe most of the older folks might know them, you know, but as I was born in Roseau, so I was raised there. Okay. So I was raised in Roseau. I was not really raised in Collio, but off and on, you know, for summer and stuff like that, we would have gone down to Collio and spend some holidays there. So that's the roots for Collio, actually. So there's a lot of roots in Collio. So I can't say that I grew up there. I spent most of my time in Roseau. So
how did Roseau come into play? Who moved to Roseau?
Well, my mom moved to Roseau. I think my aunt, but she passed now. She was in town staying. She was Margaret. So she was staying in town, and I think, well, for the stories, I was too small to have known the stories, but my brother and others would have told me that my mom and my dad, they could not have agreed, so you know, so she moved to the city where her sister resided, you know, and her mom as well resided with her sister in town. So that's why I think I was born in town.
You think you were born in town?
I was born in town.
You have siblings. Did she take those siblings with her? And tell us about your siblings.
Oh, my siblings, my bigger sister, she's the eldest. She's the first. She's Irish Scotland. She was Irish George before. And my brother, Jefferson Langley, that's my eldest brother. And my other brother, who is in Missouri at this time, Melbourne St. Clair, they call him Steve St. Clair. I think the Melbourne thing is a nickname, but Steve St. Clair, that's his name. And my sister, who is listening right now in New Jersey, Eunice George, that's my sister. But I'm the last of my siblings, so I'm the last.
Hello, Eunice, and all the other siblings and family members who are tuned in. Just stick around and, you know, wait here. There may be some things you might discover that you didn't even know about your brother. So just keep it locked to the program. So how much do you remember, Bolo, about moving to Roseau?
Well, moving to Roseau, I don't remember much moving to Roseau, but I remember staying in Roseau.
Okay.
I used to stay in Independence Street. That is exactly where I think the Chinese have their store there. I think.
Well, there's many Chinese stores there.
What is this? I can't remember. But anyways, kind of like opposite.
Oh, the one where they make the kitchen windows or kitchen cupboards or Jenny's Kitchen.
Yes, that's
all
correct.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's exactly where we used to stay.
Free plug in Jenny or something.
Yes, we used to stay in that yard. So I raised my whole life. I was raised there.
Okay.
You know, and even through Hurricane David, I remember we were staying upstairs, and after Hurricane David, the upstairs got damaged, so we moved to my aunt who was staying in the yard, you know, there, and so I spent most of my time in town, and I even found another mom in Roseau as well, and that's Judith Nichols. She had all the Labad children with Masterlin Labad. You know, I call them my adopted brothers. So
you spent a lot of time there.
I spent a lot of time there because they were not staying too far. They were staying right in River Street. So I was staying in it was called Queen Mary Street at the time. Right now it's Independence Street, but I was staying at Queen Mary Street. So I used to be off and on. I would eat breakfast at my house, and then I would eat breakfast at their house, and I would eat lunch at my house, and I would eat lunch at their house. So I had actually 6 meals a day.
Way, Bolo.
Yes, actually, at that time.
Did your mother know that was happening?
My mother was, listen to me, my mother was best of friends with everybody.
Uh-huh.
And it's like she was a giving and sharing lady. And she shared everything with everybody. So it's like Judith would have gotten stuff when my mother would have gone to the market. And I don't know, it was amazing when she went to the market, how she would let, her money stretch. I don't know how she did it, but I mean, for the money she went to the market with, and the stuff that she brought back, it was amazing. And if anybody in the market would tell you that this lady, they just loved her. So I guess they would give her stuff, and she would share with everybody.
So your mommy would come from the market with her market, she stretched as far as she could, and then she would share with Judith and others.
Yeah, others, and the entire neighbors, we had neighbors there, and everybody would have gotten from that market. So she was a very sharing lady, and when she cooks, she doesn't cook for just for us alone, but just in case anybody else
passed. That is it.
Yeah.
Is that one of the main things you remember about her?
Yes, too, and I remember too that she herself would have gone to the moon and back for me. I know she has that great love for me. I remember a time that I joined the scout troop, and we had to go to St. Martin, and I don't know where the money was coming from, and we had to pay like $500 to get there. And my mom came up with that money. I don't know how she came up with it, because she didn't have that money at the time, but she came up with the money. And I remember going up there with just because she didn't even have money. She did not have any money to to give me pocket change, to say that but everybody else had pocket change. I think I went up there with maybe about 15 US. And I think it stretched. Others shared with me, and stuff like that. So, it was good up there in St. Martin, and that was my first time actually traveling.
What did your mom do for a living?
Oh, she was working at the botanical gardens. She was one who raked the grass clean, keep the botanical gardens clean. So I think she worked there for over 20 years.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
They're clearly a hard worker.
Yeah, very hard worker.
And clearly that is something that you took from her.
Yes.
Because, listen, guys, today I had the opportunity to see a video, documentary of what is involved with this man. We come to his stall or his cart, and we ask, Bolo juice. Fellas passing on their transport, they stopping in the middle of the road. Bolo, 2 hot dog and 2 whatever, and they going around, they coming back, we coming, we hustle Bolo, I tell you guys, it is not. I told him today he needs to complete the documentary, put it all together, and allow me and him, put it on social media and let you guys see. And GK, if you're listening, I do hope that you're going to work with him to get this done, because it is one thing to come and get what he serves out to us. It is another thing to understand what goes into being there around 9 or whatever time he comes in the morning to serve you, and to be there on his feet all during the course of the day. And trust me, what you see there, the hours that he's there standing on his feet, that's not all the hours, But we will learn some more. So, Bolo, we were talking about mommy and how much of a hard worker she was. Yes. She worked at Botanic Gardens, because we're coming to you some more in a while. And you were talking about some of the things that you appreciated about her. A couple of the things you admired about her, and you you shared with us the passion she had for you, the love she had for you, and how she was able to get you to go to St. Martin. You don't know today, up to today, how she got that $500. She put aside a 50 every month for the...
I guess
something happened.
She did something happened.
She made something happen. Not good.
That's good. She made something happen.
Yes.
So I'm grateful that that she was the one behind me as well, pushing me along, and even I maybe fast forwarding as well. She's been the person behind driving me, because even when I got married, she was the one who gave me money to get through that marriage as well, and she gave me money to do other stuff. She's always been an encouragement.
Yes. Is she still alive?
No, she's not.
She passed.
Actually, she passed in 2015 after marriage, shortly after marriage. Not Maria, but Erica. Tropical storm Erica, she passed.
Do you mind sharing with us what happened?
Well, she had Alzheimer's. She got Alzheimer's at the time she was suffering with Alzheimer's. And they said that there's no cure for Alzheimer's, and it took its toll on her. But I still thank God for her. That even she trusted the Lord as a Savior. That made the difference. And even when she was just there in a mood, she would just hum and sing, like she's singing. But at the beginning, when she was getting into it, she was asking that, that she wants to go home, and that home is always where they began their life. Doesn't call you, and she was always asking to go there. And just,
were you all able to give that to her?
Yeah, well, sometimes we would have bring her, but the thing is, it was kind of like in the mind that
I understand.
They wanted to get there.
Yes.
And I remember we went to Dr. Mack, and he said, "There's no cure for this, but the perfect medication for that is tender love and care." So when you have people like that, you have to love them. Show them the love. And I remember a time that she was messing and stuff like that, and she made a mess in the toilet, and I didn't know she was going through that. So I said, "Mama, why are you doing that?" And she started I tell her, "Well, let's go and bathe," because she messed up the whole place. So I took her to the washroom, and I decided that I'm going to bring her to bathe, and she was putting up a fight. She was fighting. She called me all kinds of names.
Oh my!
And I was like, "What?"
But you didn't understand by then.
Yeah, I didn't understand. And I kind of forced her to go in the bathroom, not knowing, but after later down.
But
knowing,
she had to get cleaned up.
Yeah, she had to get cleaned up. But later down, I got to know, how these kinds of things you have to love them. So I thank God that the love that she has given to me, I could appreciate her and love her back.
You gave it back.
Love her back.
You gave it back.
Yeah.
You gave it back.
Yeah.
What about Dad?
Oh, well, my dad, kind of he went, I remember they told me that the story is that he went to England, before I was born, and he came back, and after that, when he came back, he was kind of a delusional, and I think they told me he got a beating. Some guys beat him over there, so he messed up his kind of faculty. So he was kind of like the pauper kind of life that he lived. He lived alone in his house, and he had that saw. He had a saw in his foot. And I always hear the stories that he was that kind of a bad guy in calling you. He would even stop traffic. They told me a time that some caterpillar wanted to pass, and he decided, well, today you're not passing. And he decided to block That's what they told me. Like, I want to go in on what
you
people
can only
told.
repeat what
Yeah,
was said
what
to
was
you.
said to me. But I appreciated my dad most of all because, you know, he was only able to get a pauper's pension, right? And just imagine that he would come to town and look for me and to give me whatever, you know, he had at the time. Whatever he went to his garden and took out, if it's dashing, potato, feed, he would bring that to me. And this kind of things stuck with me. The appreciation. And I saw the genuine love that he had for me. Where he did not have any like money to give to me, but you know, I saw the love that he had for me, and he came and, you know, always coming to town looking for his son and to give him what he had. And I appreciate that very much.
Well, you're getting me a bit emotional here with this.
Well, I'm getting emotional myself.
Yes.
I just remembering that, and then he, you know, he passed in 2019, you know, and when he died, I think that time I was supposed to be leading, you know, Bible study worship, and so on, and I could not even do it because, you know, I just think about how the appreciation, you know, that he had for me, you know, so
even if there was the thinking that he wasn't too right up there,
right.
But he knew he had a son named Bernard,
and he loved him,
and he did what he could for you.
That's it.
Bolo, in terms of your two parents, two very different people, clearly. What do you say are some of the memories that you have, and what are some of the lessons learned from each of them in their own special way?
Well, in my own special way with my mom. My mom was a very hard-working lady and determined to make sure that her children succeed, and, you know, give them everything. She gave us her love, you know. She does give us her all. I remember the time that that stuck with me because I think my brother was troubling me, and that's Steve Sinclair. And you know, he was. I told my mother, Mom, we used to call her auntie, and the reason why we used to call her auntie is not like we wasn't calling her mommy or mommy, you know. We used to call her auntie because I think that stemmed by my sister, because my mom used to stay in Corleo, and everybody around my sister used to call my mom auntie. You understand? So my sister was calling my mom auntie as well. She wasn't calling her mommy, so I guess everybody else
just follow
suit.
Yeah.
And they called her auntie.
Okay.
So,
and she didn't mind.
She didn't mind. She didn't mind at all. Yes. She didn't mind that at all. So I told I said, Auntie, look Melbourne troubling me there, and she said, suck with gas. And then and then my brother took off. So when he run, man, we used to stay in an alley. So when she threw a stone behind him, he had time pass, but it's like the stone bounced on a window and then ricocheted on his back. Boof.
Oh my God.
I say, what? He said it's...
She deadly.
She deadly. Well, I don't tell you, but that's very deadly. But anyway, even as to, I think a guy was troubling me, and I asked my brother to come and check that guy. That guy troubling me, and that guy hit me. That guy hit me a lash. I tell my brother, come. My brother was afraid to come watch me there. But my mother, man, she was like a warrior. She came and she like, you know what you touching my son for? You know, and she started making noise and stuff with that guy, so to make him know that he should not touch her son. So I appreciate my mom for that. She came to my defense.
She was a champion.
Yes.
Yes, and in terms of the lessons, in terms of that.
Yeah, I see in that, like, stand up for yourself. You know, when people, when you are in positions that you know that people are trying to belittle you, you need to stand up And when people try to oppress you, you need to stand up, you know. So never let people intimidate you, but you have to stand up for your rights. Once it's your rights, stand up for your rights.
And that was mom. And what about dad? The lessons that we learned from dad?
The lesson that I learned from my dad is, you know, that he, no matter, you know, how it was with him, but he was that provider. And I see that in him. So I wanted to emulate that part of him, you know, to make sure that I provide for my family and love them, you know, in the way that he did. You know, even that he didn't have much, but, you know, he did what he could. So I'm very appreciative for that part that he played in my life. And as I said, that he had a soul, and then he came up to live with me after a few times. Yeah, he was at and then he got accepted at the Grow too, because, you know, the kind of where we were when I got married, you know, that space was not my house at that time, so we had to get like a space to get him. But the grotto at that time was, you know, willing to take him in, and you know, they took him in, and from there he have been, you know, put in the grotto. He and after that we had surgery on his feet because the sore was kind of bad, so he had one leg, and then just before Mario, we got a space for him in the infirmary, and that's where he lived, you know, till he died, passed in 2019.
And I can almost guarantee everyone listening that you constantly checked up on your father.
Yes, I did. Actually, we had to pay. We offered to pay a fee every month.
So you made a contribution.
I made a contribution to them every month.
Excellent. I definitely see you being the type of person who would do something like that.
Yes, yes.
Now, Bolo, so apart from eating 6 meals a day between your home and Judith's home, tell me about your childhood generally.
Well, before that, I mean, my mom didn't have much. We generally grew up on bread, and I can remember that sometimes we were in the house and it's just dry bread and sweetened water as brown sugar, you know, and we would make a squash after we come home from school and eat. But my mom always makes sure that she has a meal for us as well. You know, we didn't have the luxury, but we always have a meal. So I thank God for my mom and God providing for her, you know, all through this time, you know, taking care of us and taking care of 5 of us, you know.
5, huh?
5 of us. So that was awesome. So I thank God for, you know, everything that, you know, just knowing that it was His hands, just looking back and knowing that it was God's hands, just taking care of us and leading us to where we are right now, you know. So I thank God for Him bringing me up, you know, as a little boy. Right now, I'm able to, you know, I've got a daughter. She's 17 now. She just got graduated on Friday.
Congratulations to her and to you.
Thank you.
And your wife.
Yes. I thank God for that. So I thank God that I have my family as well.
We will come back and learn more about the family. So growing up, what about school?
Oh, well, school, I remember I went to the 7 Days Adventist school. That was the first school I went to.
Oh.
And then I got transferred to the mixed school. That's where I got my name from. But I remember just growing up, you know, I was not I was not educated to say that, you know, I remember that maybe at times that I could not even spell my name. Very early. I did not, you know, learn this thing. So, you know, at mixed school, I think that's where I started really learning, you know, just imagine for that long, I don't know, I don't remember what that, I didn't remember in seminary school that I, you know, knew my ABC like at the back of my hands, like right now, like children knows that, know that like that. It's only at the mixed school that I started, you know, really learning these things and learning to read and.
So you were somewhat of a slow learner.
Slow, that's correct. Yes. And at I think at Rosa Boys School, I think there was a white teacher, you know, used to teach, you know, people who did not know how to read or so she started teaching us the phonics and stuff like that. So that time I grappled a little bit, you know, and but really when I'll say that a little later. So, but from that mixed school, I moved to Rosa Boys School, and there was a journey there in Rosa Boys School, you know, and I remember that at a point in my life, you know, we went to seek common entrance, but I wasn't successful at that. And then I think I had Teacher Lufa as well. Teacher Lufa, if you're listening to that.
Yeah, always listen.
Yeah, you're
Mr. Lufa.
Yes, Lufa, you know, has been my teacher as well in common entrance as well. So I know that he gave me a beating once with his belt called the Cobra.
The Cobra.
The Cobra. I got stung by the Cobra.
Wow.
So that in itself disciplined me at a time like that, you know. And I remember clearly at a time there was at break. There was a guy, you know. They were told that do not touch this guy. He had a clean head, you know. And at that time I think I was a bit. I was a bit troublesome. I was a beta. So I gave the guy a clout on his head.
A calotte.
So he went to report me in the principal office. So now he went to report me, and then I think when I went to the office, there was Sir Kentish. I hope Sir Kentish is listening tonight. And Kentish told me that, didn't I told you all, do not slap the boy on his head? And I tell him, but sir, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. And then he told me, you know, you didn't know about that? Okay, you know something? Go and get a belt for me by that teacher for me to give you a beating. And then I went to get the belt by the teacher. But I said in my mind, I myself, you see that belt thing I go in for there to
you're not in that.
I'm not in that. So I said, like, I'm not going to bring that belt back for that teacher. So I told the teacher, well, I went to him, I said, Sir Kentish asked you, can you please borrow him your belt? So he was handing me the belt. I tell him, sir, I'm sorry, but I'm not bringing that belt for Mr. Kentish. So he told me, look, the belt. I said, no, sir, I'm not bringing that belt for Mr. Kentish. You have to bring it yourself.
That is it.
You have to bring it yourself because I'm not going to get a beating with that belt. And it's me that bringing it to beat me. I said, no, I'm not going to bring it.
I agree with you, but that not making sense.
Yes. So then he brought the belt to Sir Kentish, and I don't know what passed through Sir Kentish's mind, but by that time, I think Sir Kentish,
he had calmed down?
He calmed down. So I did not receive a beating from that belt. So I thank God that I did not receive a beating from that belt.
But you would receive a beating eventually. That would cause you to leave school. Bolo, let's take a quick break. We come in, sip your water.
Sure.
Yeah, twap it of water. We coming right back. Stick around, guys, for that story. It's a good one.
Hey.
and more. Getting to know our farmers, our public servants, youth, and the ordinary Dominican. Listen to their stories. No limitations, no restrictions, no holds barred. In the Spotlight will also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations. Don't miss In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday nights from 8 p.m. In the Spotlight. One-on-one with interesting personalities, educational and informative topics and issues, intriguing and entertaining. A must listen to. In the Spotlight, Monday nights from 8 p.m. on Q95.
9:02 is the time in the studios, and we are back. I really have to big up those persons on the Facebook Live. You all are having quite a fun time on the live chat. So they're talking about Kwedi Bolo and some that seem to be owing you some money. But let me give all you a secret. Ferdina always going by Bolo Bolo. I have a juice, I'll check you. But I just go, the one thing he can say to you, maybe I owe him one or two, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But I always go back and say, Bolo, that is for that one, that is for that one. So I am one of the Kwediers, I am one of, I'll come out somewhere, let's say I come out somewhere, to a function or something, and I pass it, Bolo, juice, I'll check you. So all I want is that Kwedi from Bolando pay him. Time to pay up, and you want our more banking. Okay? But Bolo, before we get to that part of it, we were talking about school.
Yes.
So you were saved by the bells in this case. But it would turn out that you would end up getting another beating for being troublesome. Give us that story.
Very troublesome. I remember my teacher, she was a female at that time, and me and my friends, we used to go and bring stuff at the home for her, like drop stuff.
And that's from at the same mixed school?
At the same, no, that's at Rosa
Boys School.
So at the Rosa Boys School, we would go home and drop things for her, go home and collect stuff for her as well. And that teacher has been very nice to me. I can't ask anything bad about her. And even sometimes she comes down to Dominica and she'll pass and give me a smile, And she used to stay at the apartments, but now she lives overseas.
Okay.
So I thank God. And it happened that, I don't know what mood I was going through at that time. But it was just, I guess growing up, and things were just happening. So I was like a bad boy at that time. I can't remember what I did, but something wrong, something I've done wrong. Next thing now, the teacher tell me that she's going to give me a beating. So I said, no problem, she's going to give me the beating. And then she started beating me. Just imagine your teacher, giving you that beating on your bottom.
And a teacher you like, a teacher you do things for,
I love.
Yes.
And it was breaking her heart, giving me that beating. Just imagine I saw her beating me, and I was like kind of like looking back like, go ahead, like kind of like that. And then in no time I saw her broke down, went to her desk and seat and, was crying.
She crying after she beat you?
After she was feeling
bad.
She was feeling bad that, she couldn't understand what was wrong with this boy. And she told me, something, do not come back to my class, do not come back to school. And I think it was approaching summer, some kind of time like that. And she told me, do not come back to school. So I went home, I was in that bad mood. So I was, I went home and I told my mom, I said, Auntie, I came home from school and the teacher told me, do not come back to school. don't come back to school. So then after that time I see school opened, and then there was the Windsor Park and the basketball court area. I think a few days I went by the basketball court and I was looking at school, and I was like, I was out of school and kind of feeling like, like a fish out of water. I was, kind of wondering like, if I should go back to school or not. But
you were feeling left out.
I was feeling like left
your
out.
friends in school,
yeah.
but you cannot go back because Miss tell you, don't come back.
So,
but do you think she literally meant that, Bolo?
From thinking now, I think she did not mean for me to not come back to school. I don't think she meant that. I guess she just said that, just out of maybe anger and stuff like that. But she didn't meant for me to, not to come back to school. But I'm sure that if maybe I'd gone back to the school, they would have gladly take me back. But maybe God had a different journey for me. So whilst I was home and
how were you? Before we go there, may I ask, how were you doing academically? Because I know you said you started off slow, that kind of thing.
At that time, I was still kind of slow.
You were still kind of slow.
Still kind of slow. No little things, but still kind of.
So you just figure, forget that.
Forget that.
Leave that alone.
Yes.
Yes.
I figure out that maybe I would be better off learning a trade or something. But my mom.
Yes, I want to know what Auntie say about that.
Well, after summer and school opened, Auntie tell me, well, you know something? You cannot stay home.
That's it.
You have to find something to do.
Right.
So I decided, what? Well, I have to find something to do. And then I think my sister Eunice was working at the textile, at the textile in Kinfield. It was called Silver Star, and she had a boyfriend that was working there, and he was a supervisor there. And at that time, as you would say,
somebody pulled a string
for me. So they pulled a string for me at that time. So I got a job there, and I started off at the ironing section of that textile.
And just pause a moment, and that is the first bits of information we're going to get of Bolo knowing what hard work is. How old were you, Bolo?
I was about 15.
You were about 15 years old. You left school, opted not to go back. I mean, really, they told you not to come back. But if Auntie had taken you and bring you to that school and say, I bring back my son to school,
I think maybe
you would still be, you would have been in school. Yes. But again, we know God has His journey and His plan for all of us.
Yes.
And so you started doing what at that place?
I started ironing, and we were ironing polo shirts at the time, and I think they had some long, turtlenecks and all that. So they were making turtlenecks and polo shirts and stuff.
Dress shirts.
Dress shirts.
Yeah.
Or dress shirts, polo dress, and what do they call it? Well, normal polo with buttons and some other buttons. I think they made them for male and for female as well. So I started ironing on the board, and just knowing that our target was set, and we used to iron about 1,500 shirts a day.
Pause. You're 15 years old.
15 years old.
You're ironing, your target was 1,500 polos, shirts, whatever the case is,
for a day.
Per day.
And you did not really have to, you did not have to make the target, actually. You could iron within that. But then but if I make my target, after I made my target, I could make overtime. So what the production is, we used to make our target and do overtime. And do overtime. But through the overtime, we were never moving as fast as we were moving when we were making our targets. So in that way, we were just burning time.
So what I want to find out, Bolo,
Yes.
so you're saying to me, at 15 years old,
Yes.
you met your target of 1,500?
I met my target of 1,500.
And sometimes
every
even
day.
more?
And more.
Every day?
Every day. Yes.
There were older people there than you,
Yes.
I'm
there
sure.
were. Yes,
you
there
know,
were.
was it men only, ladies as well?
Well, I think the ladies were those that were they were the folders of the clothes,
Okay.
and some of them was selecting clothes at that time as well. Like they would select the clothes, like to see if it's ripped or whatever. They would
Right.
select,
Alright.
and they would give us the clothes to iron. So
Okay.
there was ladies doing that line, and there was ladies doing the folding after we ironed.
So there was a kind of like a quality control,
Quality
they
control.
checking, you know,
Yes.
making sure everything is okay.
Yes, yes.
Right.
There was that. And so much, in order for us to make our target, we had to come very early and make sure that there's enough clothes selected, because you need to have the amount that you really need to make your target. And there were some big boxes we were making sure that they load them up so that we could iron them, and we were ironing very quickly. Yeah? Trust me.
Clearly.
I guess that's where maybe they might.
Exactly. I was about to say, you know, maybe there's some kind of connection there.
Yeah.
And you stood up to do that, Bolo?
Yes, we stood up to iron. Yes.
For how many hours a day?
Well, as many as to the amount that I stand up to make my target more. We had breaks
Okay.
as well. We had breakfast and we had lunch.
What time would you have to get to work for?
7:30.
And you had the discipline at that time
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
at work for 7:30.
Yes. Sometimes we had to get there before that, because if you want to get all your clothes, the shits and stuff like that, you know, you have to get there very early to be able to get the clothes, you know, so you can make your target. So,
What about how you were paid, Bolo?
that's an interesting one. Knowing that I was making my target every day, so I was thinking to myself, why am I getting a little lower than those guys?
They were paying you less.
They were paying me less.
Papa.
So I was wondering, why am I getting less money than these guys, and I'm doing the same amount of clothes that they're doing? So my supervisor at that time, he was Chinese. He was Mr. Ho.
Mr. Ho. Oh, Papa Lord. Okay. Mr. Ho. All right.
So I told Mr. Ho, I need to tell you something. I tell him, Mr. Ho, you know that I keep making my target every day, and the money that I receive, you know, I'm getting less than these guys, and I'm making the same amount of target that they're making. So he told me, he told me he cannot deal with this. I cannot deal with this situation. He told me, he was not so good in English at that time. Just thinking about that, just picking up a big boy, if you're listening, you know, that's the guys that used to work at the ironing board.
That was getting more money than you.
And there was a guy, Ronald, and you know other guys. Yeah, I hope those guys are listening.
I hope so.
So I went to Mr. Ho, and Mr. Ho said, well, okay, he will bring that up to Mr. Charlie. And,
So Mr. Charlie was who?
Mr. Charlie was the general manager.
All right.
So I went to Mr. Charlie in the office, because he called me in and he told me, well, hey, you, I heard that you have a problem. They were speaking English though, because you're not too familiar with English. So I tell him, yes, I've got a big problem. I told him, well, my target is 1,500 shirts I'm ironing every day, and my money is lower than this guy's money. So he said to me, well, you little boy.
That's it.
You little boy, so you get little money. So I tell him, Mr. Charlie, me little boy make big man targets.
That's it.
So he told me, well, So I told him, well, Mr. Charlie, I'm making 1,500 shirts a day, and I'm getting that little money, and me little boy make big man target. so it's like he looked in and he said that, like, I see him point and he said, you. It's like I was getting to his head. So I tell him, well, if me little boy, then you have to give me little boy target.
That's it.
Don't give me big man target. So he realized in his mind, this guy is playing psychology on me right now.
You were good for him.
Yeah. So I stand up for my rights at that time. So he told me, well, okay, no problem. Next fortnight, you get your raise.
It's good to stand. You see, the lesson here, Bolo, is that we should never be afraid for standing up for our rights.
That's definitely.
And that was your right. It did not matter that you were 15 years old.
Right.
The point is that you were meeting the target of 1,500, which was the same as everybody else.
Yes.
So why should you be paid any less? Because you're 15 years old. Then give your 15-year-old boy target. So give you 1,800 or 800.
Right.
And then pay whatever they were paying.
But then he realized that he would have been in trouble. He would have given me a lower target.
Right.
Because every day I was making my target. So maybe I would have been killing over time. But he decided, that would not make sense giving this guy a lower target, because he's making his target of 1,500 shirts.
No, Bolo, clearly that had to be very hard work. Standing up, ironing. I don't like to iron. Thank God the uniform that Flo gives me is a polo shirt that doesn't need to iron. I hang that in iron and I'm good to go. Ironing is not my favorite things to do. But to think of standing up every day, ironing 1,500 pieces of clothing.
And Ferdina, if you would have seen us on that ironing board, I wish we would have had a video of it was like magic, and fold that clothes one time and, put them together, and, I guess that's where the magic of my hands began,
The magic of your hands and your feet. We definitely have to get there, folks. We have to get there, So there's so much to talk to Bolo about. So
from after that, I think the factory closed down, and I think they moved to, I think it's St. Lucia or Grenada or wherever they went, and then the factory closed, and then from that time I moved, and I started helping Daddy's son. I was the one who, wherever he went, he would go to convent and go to grammar school, and sell, and I was the one supplying him. Like when the stock run out, run for the stock and bring it back to him.
How did you get to link up with him, Bolo?
Well, as I said, I was kind of like in the family, like already. From where I started, like neighbors and being that, and then I linked up with them and I started the business. Even before Daddy's son started his own business as well. He used to work for a guy named Paul, and they used to have a bar by the selling food and stuff by the bus stop, by the bus stop. So they were the ones that had the first cut, and Daddy's son was working for him. And as well, I used to help Daddy's son, not for any pay or anything, but as my brother, I would go and get stuff for him as well. And then he started his own business, and that's where I got hired by him. It started that I was carrying stuff, but then there became a time that, Daddy's son, he needed to go in the bank because I think he had to go to get some money or something like that, some loan. And he stopped and he told me, right now the bank called me, so I need to go to the bank right now, and I need you to start selling right now.
You have to step up.
So right now I have to step up. I said, well, how am I going to step into that shoe, knowing that, that guy is so swift in his hands and stuff like that. So I said, how am I going to do that now? Well, anyways, I decided, okay, there's nothing beats a trial, It's only a failure that can beat you, but you can always try again. Mm-hmm. Don't let failures, keep you down. So you can always try that. So I decided, yes, okay, let's go. So I started cutting the bread, and serving, and I went down to Social Security and selling the bread. I wasn't so fast, but I could handle my own and do it. And at that time, it was, you had to multitask because I was the only one selling, cashing, selling juice, the only one on the stand. So that's how it was. So we started going on my Social Security and selling, and later on my skills started developing, and until I keep working on my skill, how to put my pepper, how to put my ketchup, how is the fastest way that I can do it, and stuff like that. So I had to kind of improvise by the way that I do things to make me faster in what I do. So, and later on I realized that this is my gift, and I remember back in the times when we really used to be fast, and we were taking a time like how fast we would have done a bread, and we were taking the time, and I actually clocked 5 seconds.
What?
5 seconds for one bread.
You mean like to put the stuffing in and everything?
And ketchup and whatever.
5 seconds?
5 seconds. That was sweet.
So you cut it? You put your stuff in?
Put the stuff in.
And whatever condiments?
5 seconds. That was clocked.
I think that's a record.
That's a record. But I don't think I can make that record. don't ask me to do that again.
So Bolo, that one day when he had to, when Daddy's son had to go to the bank,
yes,
and you had to step up.
Yes.
What happened after that? Did he continue using you too?
Yes, he did continue using me at that time and selling.
So would you all share the time? How did it work out?
Well, how it worked out, he would have done the morning time, because the morning time is like the quickest time. He would have done the morning time, and at that time I remember we used to do an afternoon shift. So I used to do the afternoon shift, and practice as well. So yeah.
Did he have a team working with him? How did it work out?
Well, we had at that time, I think we had his cousin Leroy, George, he's right now working in the financial part of investigation. I think some part like if you money laundering area, he works at that area at that time. But he used to be as fast as I am. But I mean, that wasn't his calling.
That was his thing.
So he didn't come to. And we had Ingersoll Labad as well, who was there behind the scenes as well, selling as well.
I'm not sure I know who Daddy's son is. So tell me a little bit about that gentleman.
Okay, well, Daddy's son, he is Hiram Labad. He's called Hiram Labad, but he started very humble as well, in River Street, and started selling. He's the eldest of Mr. Masterlin Labad's son. So he is the one, that really inspired me, to go into this business and to how fast I am, because he was very fast as well.
Very fast,
he was very fast as well. He was as fast as I was. So as 5 seconds too, I think he clocked that in.
Easily.
Yes, he was very. Trust me, let me tell you, when the guy was at work in convent, let me tell you, people would be, those young ladies would be pressing, hey, my corned beef, oh, my punjab, oh, my this, oh, my that.
Because they maybe just have 15 minutes break,
yeah, 15 minutes break, and it's like, you would like hear that the pans like, and like cutting,
It's like magic.
It was like magic.
Unbelievable.
And I remember a time, Ferdina, that when we were that fast, I remember Biggie, Linton Joseph.
Yes, LJ.
LJ, right, LJ. I remember LJ came a time and he decided, well, okay, he wants to come to film me and see how fast, that I what he told me, Bolo, something about it, the camera can't pick you up.
Big up yourself, LJ.
He told me about Bolo, that camera can't pick that up. Because although he tried to pick me up like, in a slow-mo, but it's like I was moving like fast forward. It was normal, but fast forward.
Lightning speed.
Lightning speed, that's what it was.
Yes.
So he said the camera, we can't pick that up. We can't pick that up, so we can't do nothing.
So you learned a lot from Daddy Son, and you are grateful to him for what he taught you.
Right.
Yes. How did it come to Bolo transitioning to his own business?
Okay, it came to a point that at that time I was selling, and I remember, in 2000, I trusted the Lord Jesus as my Savior.
Okay.
And I was that person that me and my brother, as my adopted brother said, we were supposed to be going and ride. It was the time, Easter time, and we decided that we was going to ride.
Ride?
Yeah, we had
motorcycle or bicycle?
Bicycles. Okay. So we decided we would go on a ride. But something happened that, there was a problem with my bicycle. So we could not have gone. And what happened is, whilst I was hanging around by the arch and stuff like that, there was open air going on, and it was the Gospel Mission assemblies having that open air. So I, just decided, well, okay, I am going to but before that, there's a different story to that. Wait, let me go back, because it wasn't actually that time that I trusted the Lord. But there's something that happened in my life, whilst, working, and there was a lady in my life at that time. I used to play basketball, I used to play for the Flames at that time, and I used to play for Apex Bullets at that time in the Trafalgar League. And at that time, I guess I was doing my film. I was the one who took the Apex Bullets to a championship, having to be in a team that never won a championship before, to bringing them to win the knockout championship that year that I came in. And from that time, we started winning trophies. It's like I built the team around me. I wasn't the only player on the team, but
you were the talent, the main talent in this life. Yeah.
So I included all the others around me. So good night, Steve, if you're listening, and and good night to Ronald Charles. He was my captain.
Same Ronald Charles.
Same Ronald Charles.
Big up yourself.
Big up yourself. So yeah, we were playing on that team, but I was in a relationship, and something happened. I don't know, my girlfriend at that time, I guess maybe I was spending too much time playing basketball or something like that, man. She told me that, she looks like I have another girlfriend.
Oui, Papa.
That's why I'm not coming down in time and spending time with her.
Pause. Truth or not? Truth. So there I was, ladies and gentlemen, thinking that the other girlfriend was basketball. When in fact, there was a real other girlfriend, side chick.
Well, truth was not true.
So there was no other girlfriend.
There was no other girlfriend, actually. There was no
other girlfriend.
No other girlfriend.
So it was really basketball then, that was the other girlfriend.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so basketball was the side chick.
So then she decided, well, something that relationship cannot work anymore. I was heartbroken.
Oh my.
I went back to her, I pleaded.
You
I said,
begged her.
please.
Once please is involved, once please a couple of times is involved, you begging.
I'm begging.
Yes.
I told her I'm sorry, even anything I've done, I'm sorry, and this wasn't getting in, and it looked like somebody else was in between the relationship, like trying to, separate us. So it happened that, we got separated. She said this is it, she's not coming back.
Wow.
This is the final.
So you got a GP, like we say. Big one. A big GP.
Just imagine that. And then that night I went home and, I was crying, wondering like, how am I going to change that, relationship? I wishing that she would come back. And for my broken heart, what comforted me was the song by Boys to Men. And this really strengthened me.
Which one, Bolo? Which one?
Never let a broken heart take your chance for love away. This was the word that encouraged me. I said, like, I've really got a broken heart, but, I'm not going to let it keep me down, So I took my broken heart. And then in this time, I think God was working on me. Because He brought me into a corner that I needed, some comfort, some inspiration. And at that time, it drew me to His gospel. And I think at that time I was listening to Benny Hinn, and I started listening. Listening to those things,
You see what a GP can do, but in this case it's a good thing.
So it brought me to listening to, the preachers on TBN and stuff like that. So I think I remember making a decision, trusting Jesus, and then started listening to Voice of Life and stuff like that. And
don't tell me. Is that how?
Well, it wasn't from that time yet.
Oh my goodness, it's coming.
And then I went to that crusade. I said that as God was working on my heart, and that open air, and I was there listening, and then now to be assured, I was listening, and then the pastor said that, would you like to accept the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior? And then I asked myself the question, and then I was telling God, well, do you want me to do this thing right now? Or do you want me to wait? But if you want me to do it right now, just show me a sign. And then at that time I was there waiting, and then I saw Matthew George. Didn't know at that time it was my cousin, but he's my cousin. And he walked up, and I don't know what he was thinking. Up to now I've been asking the question, why did he come to me directly? And then he left where he was sitting, and then he came up directly to me because it was on the bridge, on the hatch, on the railing. I was leaning over, and then he came to me and he asked me, young man, would you like to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior? Then I was like amazed. I was saying like, wow.
That was the sign.
I was like, wow, Lord, I asked for a sign, and here it goes, you gave me a sign. So at that time I realized I cannot say no, I cannot turn back. So he told me, I said, well, yes, I would like to accept Jesus Christ as my Savior. Then he came and he opened the word with me, and he said that it's very easy to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior. It's just believing that He is the Son of God, believing that God has risen from the dead, and if you believe that Jesus Christ, that God sent Him and God raised Him and He died on the cross and He rose again from the dead, if you believe that, He will save you. So I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of the living God. I believe that He died and He rose again from the dead. And I believe that with all my heart. And Jesus did save me. So, and from that time on, I saw God working in my life and taking me to different places. And, even when I think that I was stranded at a time, it was raining, and I had my bicycle at that time, and at that time I was living at Fokuli, the industrial site area, where the landfill area is, where that guy had the woodwork shop area up that side. So I decided, well, boy, something, boy, my bicycle I have, and it's raining, and I can't ride home right now, and the weather is pretty bad. But I said, Lord, well, I think I can get a ride now, but if I get a ride now, how am I going to get that ride? And I know I have my bicycle. Mm-hmm. But right there, a friend of mine stopped. Hey, silly, big up yourself if you're listening. And then he stopped and he said, Bolo, where you going? You going home? I tell him, yes. He tell me, come, let's go. Put the bicycle in the trunk. I said, what? I never thought of putting bicycle in the trunk and getting a ride. And right there and there, I got a ride to home, and he brought the home safe. So I thank God for all this. In all this little path, I saw, the hands of God working, in my life. And we're coming up to the big story now, where that BOLO's mobile, moved to that part. I was working, building my house in Funkoli and stuff like that, and even got to pay for my land and all of that, working for Daddy's son. But when I got married, it was a different chapter. Mm-hmm. The time that I got married, what happened is that same Christmas, that I got married the same year, it happened that Christmas, usually at Christmas we got bonuses. Mm-hmm. But at that Christmas, imagine there was no bonus for me. And
pause, Bolo. I don't mean to interrupt you. So you're saying that there was no, and by the way, you talk about getting married. So we'll have to go back to that at some point in time, right? So you said there was no bonus for you. Mm-hmm. Does that mean there was bonus for others, but not you?
Well, others got, but I did not get at that time, and I was kind of heartbroken, one day, what's
do you know why you didn't get any bonus?
Well, looking back, and seeing how it is, when I got married, I went to St. Lucia for my honeymoon. Just digging up Brother Porteous, Pastor Porteous, that's a St. Lucian pastor, that brought so much in my life, and prophesied and brought a lot. God used him amazingly in my life, and you will get to know that story a little later. Mm-hmm. So I went to St. Lucia. Pastor Porteous gave us our honeymoon, and we were at the Parrot, I think it was a Parrot, and something like that. The hotel was called, it was Parrot Hotel in St. Lucia. But after I came back, knowing that I was on leave, and I had to get paid for my leave. So when I was on leave, and I came back, and I came and asked for my leave money, it was the faster that I came back, he told me that the faster I come back to work is the faster that I'll get my money.
Right.
It's as if he wasn't making money, and it was me that was be the one that was making the money or stuff like that.
Yes.
So he said the faster that I come back is the faster that I will get my money. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed because that could have been, he could have given me my money, but that happened in that way. So that passed. So, but
Did you get the leave money, by the way?
yes, I did.
You got the leave money. You just didn't get any bonus.
I didn't get any bonus.
All right.
Yeah, so I got the leave money. Tracking back and seeing that how I met my wife, just before I got married. It was a day my wife came at church, and she came to share the voice of life, because they were having their promo, because I think it was Sheraton was coming up at that time. It was close to December, so they were going out at different churches and sharing, how you can how you could give to Voice of Life, the ministry. So she came and she was...
And just to differentiate, folks, remember there was Voice of the Islands, which was the Catholic radio station in Point Michel, where I worked, where I started. And then there was Voice of Life, which is in Loubier, Madrid area.
Right,
yes, so the big tree in there.
Yes, that's correct. And she came to do an announcement, and when she came there, I think I was getting baptized that same day when she came. So I was getting baptized at that time. So she came in, and I looked at her, and I was looking at her, and I was looking at the fingers, because I usually inspect fingers. So I saw that she had no rings in the fingers. So no rings, no wedding ring.
Nothing, no mark, no ring mark, nothing.
And I remember she used to work at the Social Security, I used to save her at that time. So I'm saying to myself, wow, she has no ring, she's not married. I'm saying to myself, well, I think I can marry her. That's what I'm saying to myself.
Pause again, Bolo. So is it that you were looking for someone, or there was something about this lady when you saw her that caught your eye?
I think there was something about her that stood out.
Right.
I think God was working at that time. But just looking forward, that she revealed to me that God, she was saying to herself that she was giving her speech, but she was nervous. She told me she was nervous. At that time, she was looking at the handsome boy, and she was saying in her mind too, wow, this guy goes to church, wow. She was saying in her mind as well at the same time. I guess we were having...
So there was some kind of chemistry happening.
Yes. And she was saying to herself, well, I can marry that guy.
No way.
Yes. I just don't understand. No.
And true story, Bolo?
True story. So God was working. So I think she told me that she told my pastor, that was Newman Johnson at the time, she told him, Pastor, you're always asking if I always seen somebody, but I saw somebody at your church, and I'm interested in this guy. And
in this lady?
Well, she told him.
Oh, she told him she was interested in this guy.
She's interested in this guy.
Very much.
So she told me that she was interested in me. So he came and he told me straightforward, with no water in his mouth, and he told me, well, Bolo, there's a lady at Voice of Life, and she said that she's interested in you.
And she was the manager at the time.
She was the
of
manager
Voice of Life Radio.
At that time, yes, she was the manager. So I said, what? Interested in me? So I said so I went home and I was thinking about it, and at that time, the next day, it was a Monday, and I was thinking that, how can I get this lady's number? Knowing that she's interested in me, and I'm interested in her as well.
Well, it's from pastor, you have to get it.
I didn't get it, actually, I didn't get it from the pastor. Happened that Monday that she was going to work and for dimes, thinking how I'm going to get the lady number. She stopped by the arch, driving to work, and then she came and she handed me
her number.
The number. She handed me her
on
card,
a paper.
her card. And I said why? At that moment, I jumped up with joy. I said, wow. I said, Lord, that's how you work. I said, what? was excited. I said, like, what? Yeah, boy, I was excited that day, and I said I couldn't wait for that night to come for me to give her.
Oh, my God. I hope it was your flow phone, you, huh?
Imagine, it was my flow phone. Well, it wasn't fun at the time. It was killer wireless. So I went home, and that night I called her. And imagine that night. Just imagine for that. I was serenading her at that time. Just speaking to her for my first time, serenading.
You sang to her?
Yes, sir.
What did you sing? Do you remember?
You know that Boys to Men song where...
Boys to Men, a call.
Yes, yeah. Where it says, I think it was a Mama song. Mama, you know I love you.
That's it.
So I changed that part. I took out the mama, and I said, Brenda, you know I love you. You know I love you, Brenda.
But wait, Bolo, wait.
Brenda, you're queen of my heart. Wow.
Listen, no, Bolo, let me ask you something, Bolo. The first night you talking to the lady on the phone, you telling the lady you love her. You serenaded her in song. You had love her already, Bolo. I hear that. Listen, Signal 101, that's a song to it. I had love her already. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it.
So for that, from that time, I loved her, and at that time, knowing I needed to meet her, and I had no thing in my mind going to. So I was going to make my contribution to Voice of Life, because I made my vow that I would contribute. So I went to Voice of Life to make my contribution, and here it is. This lady is in the background giving me a big smile, but I'm thinking nothing still, and she's in the background, and she's telling the staff. She told me that she was telling the staff, look the guy. So I came to make my contribution, and she told me after I made my contribution. She actually...
You didn't know she was working at Voice of Life at the time?
Well,
You knew by then? Okay. Mm-hmm.
But she told me that she followed me. She told me that she followed me. But I didn't even realize.
What you mean she followed you?
She just... Finding this guy, she just followed me. She asked me if I noticed her following me. I said,
follow you where?
From Voice of Life. She drove behind me.
Papa.
I said like it wasn't easy. I didn't know that she drove me in.
Wow.
Well, it was God.
I love it.
Doing the chemistry, molding things together.
And that was it.
That was it. And I think she said that she had, Pastor Polius, that's where he comes in. Amazing. I think he prophesied in her life, and she hosted him, and he asked her, I want to bless you. What do you want? She said to him that, I saw a guy, at the Kenfield Gospel Mission, and I'm interested in him. And then, right about that time, God just confirmed to him. She said, God told him that in 3 months' time, this guy is going to ask you to engage him, and in this some of the time, he's going to ask you to marry him and stuff like that. And she said that she never realized that when it was close to maybe 2 weeks before the wedding, she remembered that, what? This guy really told me this. And look, it's really happening, So, and then she called him and she told him, Pastor Polius, the guy you told me, he really had he asked me to marry him and stuff like that, and he decided, well, he's going to give us our honeymoon. So that's how we.
That was a gift.
That was a gift. That's how we end up in St. Lucia for our honeymoon.
Well done, Bolo. God's work.
Yes.
God's work. God's work.
Working in our lives.
And it's been how many years now?
Well, this year would be 22 years.
Since you've been married.
Since we've been married.
Congratulations.
Well, I cannot say it has been, like there's a journey. This journey has been very learning and an experience that I would never give up. And to say trade, I would never trade that for anybody else.
And it's a great love story.
Great love story.
I love it. Now let us get into. Is it the time, Bolo? Let us get into how and you have a daughter.
And we have a daughter.
Out of that marriage, 17-year-old daughter, graduated this year. Congratulations to all of you and all of those successes.
Thank you.
20 years in the business of Bolo's Mobile.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
20
so
years.
After they didn't give you any bonus and you felt a little uncomfortable and disappointed. What would that lead to?
Well, that led to many things that my wife said that Bolo, that we need to start our own business. She was the one behind me saying that, well, we could include Daddy's son in it and, have a corporate business and so on.
Okay.
But he wasn't for the idea.
Okay.
So then we decided, okay, so then we'll move into our own business. And at that time, I think it was, I don't think it was NDFG at that time that gave me the loan for my business, for my first cat. I just want to big up Debbie, Sister Debbie, Jacques. At this time, she was the one, at that time in the loans department and working at the NDFG. And see to that I got the money. But thank God, glory to God for that. So they asked me to take a few notes of how I'm doing in the business. Take a few notes of the sales and how it is, how much is going on for a day. And I did that, and I brought them that stats. And I thank God for those at the NDFD. Hey, Big G, good night to you if you're listening. And that's George. So he was one of the customers always coming and buy and stuff like that. So he was part of those who would propel me to where I am now. So so they gave me that loan for my business. My wife was the one who could have taken the loan because she was managing Voice of Life, so she had the finance to pay back and stuff like that. So the transition came, we bought our cards and we moved on our own. I think at that time we were staying at Voice of Life in the house. The house we were not own. She was staying at the Voice of Life because she was the manager, so she was staying at the house. So at that time we opened our business and we asked for permission to just do our business in the building. So at that time we sprang out. So we came, we got the loan, and Cat was on its way. Cat came down, we cleared it and all of that. And Greens was one of the supermarkets not supermarket at the time, it was the wholesale. Greens was wholesale at that time. So they are the ones who gave me my credit, and they were the first ones who, they inspired me to go into that business. Mr. Joe, Mr. Shillingford, good night, and to all the others, Eddie and all of them, Peter and all of them at Greens, and Blaze, all of those play a vital part. Making sure that I got my goods and making sure that I got it on time. These guys played a very vital part in my business as well. So we started, boom. It was I think we started in July. It was July 4th. I think it was Independence Day
in the United States.
So we started at that time. So boom, I put down my cart and I started, and I think I got that spot in the market at the time to park the cart. So, right, and I wrote to the city council to give me permission, to stay on the sidewalk as well. So, boom, we started. Right away, I thought that when I started my own business, it's gonna,
take some
time to grow. But it seems like right away, it was just like a transition from Daddyson to Bolo, and one time it just transferred. It's like everything it's like the blessing just followed over.
So your customers just came?
Customers just came to me.
From day one?
From day one. So I had, as I said in my documentary, that a lady came and she was encouraging me. She said, "Young man, I'm buying from you today, to encourage you. That sale I'm gonna give you, you're gonna be successful." So that was one of the blessings that I got, to go on. And other people encouraged me, and I know Flo and Cable and Wireless customers. I give a lot of thanks for Cable and Wireless customers.
You seem to be very grateful and thankful to everyone who played some kind of role.
Yeah, because Cable and Wireless was my customers, Social Security, We Church, all these people, played the part of me being Bolo, celebrating 20 years now, and all the customers. Just imagine that you'd have customers all the way from Portsmouth, Bloaters.
Mr. Bloaters.
Mr. Bloaters and Mr. Bloaters' wife, that they would come down to town and she would say to me, "Bolo, if you see you not in Rose, I'm not eating in Rose."
Just like that, she would say for sure.
She would say that just like that. She would, I'm not eating it. Once you see you not there, Bolo, I go back down Portsmouth hungry. And I'm not eating anywhere else. So just imagine you have customers coming from that far, just appreciating you and appreciating the service that I give to people. And I thank God that I had patience with people, because sometimes, you could be serving customers and sometimes people they come with their heavy load and you need to lighten their load a little bit, with a smile. And then I always have that kind of a smile. I guess it's the Lord that gives me that kind of smile. So when you come by me, you get that warm reception, because I love every customer that comes. I appreciate every customer. So people would come and they come vexed and then I have to come with that calm voice and say, "Calm down, it's okay.
Yes.
You'll get it's a good time. It's all right." Just trying to calm them, because the Word of God said in a soft answer turn away wrath. So if somebody comes with anger, you come with a soft answer. That's the kind of voice that Ferdina inspired. That kind of soft voice, like if you're angry, you can't come rush that. So yeah, I came and I calm, talking to that customer to just calm that customer down. So customers appreciate me for that kind of service as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Bolo, a couple of things. People speak about what you provide. So, what did you start with? Was it just hot dogs?
I started my own business. I started with smoke herring, saltfish, and hot dogs.
Right.
That's all I started with. My daddy's son before me used to do tuna, corned beef, and so on.
You never went down that route?
I never went down that route. I never went back to that route.
But I've come to your cart and I've seen people with, now they mix the codfish and the smoke herring. What do you call it?
Well, the customers come and ask for a mix. That's with the codfish and the smoke herring.
Right.
That one is just a mix. We call
Just
it
a mix.
just a mix.
Then you
But-
see some coming, you see you put in codfish, then a hot dog on top of it, then onion,
Yeah, that one is called a fish dog.
a fish dog.
Yeah, we call that a fish dog. And if you're taking smoked herring with hot dog on it, it's also called a smoked dog.
A smoked dog. And what is the bad man?
And the bad man is the smoked herring, the saltfish, and the hot dog and everything. And,
Jesus.
this one is the bad man. And some people, I served some people the bad man, and they would say, and not serve them, but they would see me putting it for somebody else, and they would say, boy, that looking yucky, yeah? That looking like, I tell them, you know what you have to do? Just try it.
Just try
and
it.
you'll see.
Yes.
So some people took the chance and they tried it. And right now they're hooked on it.
I have seen, just last week,
Yes.
I was there talking to you,
Yeah.
and then this young man came with this whole mastiff.
Oh, boy.
I said, Bolo, how much for that? Now, 4 dog in that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
the guy he came with his, I think it was a 350 Mastiff,
A big mastiff.
big Mastiff, and as for it was a bad man because he said he wanted everything in there.
Oh.
He wanted everything in that. He said today that
And then right after that, another one who works the same place
Same
came
place,
with
yeah.
another big one.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, madness.
Yeah,
But
so
it's the customers,
the
you give them what
I
they
give
want.
the customers what they want. Whatever they want, I give them.
Yes.
So no matter what you want, I give you. Even in juices, no matter what juice you
Yes.
want, I will mix
You
it
give
for
me some
you.
mixes already.
Yeah, man.
Deadly vibes.
Deadly
Bolo.
vibes. Yeah.
But Bolo, we come to your cards, and we ask for what we want. And as I was saying earlier on, sometimes people come, they don't want to wait their turn. You have others, who pass around in the vehicle and they don't
Yes.
care that you're there serving other people who are there.
Yes,
I don't think
yes.
that one is fair, but anyway,
yeah.
they come and they throw their order and tell you they're making it wrong, they're
Yeah.
coming. And I see you try to accommodate, everyone
Everybody, yeah.
as much as you can. How difficult is that for you to do?
Well, knowing that is my posture of being calm. I will tell the people that is in the vehicle that there's a number of customers before you. So if you're thinking of making one wrong,
That won't work.
that won't work. Please, you might have to make more than one wrong. So some people, they would want it right away. Like as they make the wrong, well, you're not ready for me yet. I tell them,
Oh my goodness, I've seen it.
I told you there's some people before you. If there's you alone, then I can prepare your stuff for you. You can make a quick run and then you can get that. So that is Bolo's mobile drive-by service. You can drive by and make your order.
Yes.
Just make a couple wrongs.
Yes.
That's all you got to do.
What I want to talk about now, Bolo, is that when people are talking about you have staff, and if you have staff and all of that, you didn't at one time, at least when you initially started, you did everything by yourself, just like when it was done with Daddy's Song.
Right.
Eventually, you started getting some to help you.
Yeah.
What I want the customers the persons who are listening now, to get a sense of what it takes to get you there at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning to serve us. So we come, we ask for what we want, and that's it.
Yes.
And we move along our way.
Yeah.
But paint a picture for us. I saw some of it in the documentary. But paint a picture for those persons who are tuned in right now, to give them a sense of what is involved to get you there in the morning.
Okay, there's a lot involved in getting me down in the morning. First of all, I have to give thanks for my staff who is working at home, and presently I have Linda working at home. Good night, Linda. And they are doing prep. So they are doing the onions, they are doing the codfish, the smoked herring, they are doing the boning and the skinning of the smoked herring. Trust me, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And I don't buy the smoked herrings that are boned already. Those that we have to bone and skin. Yeah, if you notice in my smoked herring, we don't have the skin, so we took out the skin bone the saltfish, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and you all don't know. There's a lot of work. When I started when I have to go home and cut the onions and cut this and cut that, and after having a long day standing going home and cut. I mean that was tiring. So I had to have a staff at home doing the prep. I thank God for Agatha and Alex and all those that works as Agatha is in Florida right as present. She was one of my first workers, and Alex and Florence, she is now. Those workers, they were faithful doing their jobs. So I give God thanks for them. And just doing that preparation. And in the morning, folks, I have to get up, and come and put all this stuff together, the onions, the cider, and all this stuff, and just to make that stuff taste nice, stay several hours, And
what time do you wake up?
I wake up at 5.
At that time, you wake up at 5.
At 5. So we wake up at 5 and we go downstairs of my building right now. Yeah, right now I have a kitchen, just for my business.
Right.
So we get up and we go downstairs and we prepare. We prepare for, start the onions and get everything stewing and, making sure everything is in order, and then make sure that I pack my stuff in my van, the juice, the stuff, make sure that I have my napkins and everything set for the day, make sure that everything is there set for the day, to make sure that I'm ready to serve you customers. I'm coming ready to serve you all. And this starts from 5 o'clock in the morning.
Somebody's saying that you're never early. But tell me, just give them a sense of how long it takes to get all of this done. At least 3 hours.
At least 3 hours.
At least 3 hours.
At least 3 hours. We take all of that time to get this stuff ready. So, folks, when you see me, when I come down late, sometimes it's pretty not my fault.
Yes.
And sometimes you just have days that you have things happen.
Things happen
some days. So
on your way down, you have to get your ice.
I've got to get my ice.
You have to get your bread.
Right on. I have to make a couple of stops as well. So that the stops kind of set back on the time as well, because sometimes you get to areas where you have to pick up the bread, and it might take a little time because somebody's there and they're helping somebody, and then they need to help you and to speed up things. But it takes a little time to get down. But when I started, it really took a little time because I was just coming down and then just picking up my bread for my cat. But right now, just speaking now, after Maria, things kind of changed a little bit because I lost my cat in Maria time. So my cat was parked in the market at the time, and Maria did a number on me. She took my cat, she affected my home. I was out for about I think it was about 7 months, about that.
Wow. After
Maria, 7 months. Not working, not doing anything, trying to get back and build back myself. And I thank God for Voice of Life, even in this regard, that whilst this storm affected them, I got a chance to help in Voice of Life, clear up the yard, and sometimes I even got a chance to announce. Yes.
Oh wow!
I got an announcing debut. People were saying that they enjoyed my time, being there.
On the air.
On the air, but after I started my business, I couldn't continue.
Yes, definitely.
I'm sorry for that time.
Who missed you?
Who missed me?
Somebody wants to know where do you get the bread?
Oh, I get the bread at Foxy's Bakery.
And everything is pre-arranged.
Pre-arranged, right.
Pre-arranged, everything is set. It's a process.
Yes,
it's a production.
I call them, I tell them I need that X amount of bread, Because I can't just come up, show up in the morning and just tell them, well, I want that bread. So I have to tell them the amount of bread I need for the day or something like that. So they get it prepared for me, especially for me. But at this time, the small bread is baked especially for me.
Okay.
Because if I'm not selling, they don't really do
that bread.
So.
Okay, Bolo, a couple of things because the time is coming up on us. Yes. And we've spoken about so much. A couple of things, Bolo. So that process, basically gives us a sense. You're on your feet from 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Then you on your feet for more hours
until maybe 4, 5, 6 o'clock. And it's not just that. I mean, when I come from there, when I get home, I have to clean up the car.
Yes.
So there's more standing as well.
Wow. And you did that for 33 years.
33
because 20 years as Bolo's mobile hot dog,
right.
but you would have done it before.
13 years before.
13 years before. A total of 33 years standing on your feet.
Yes.
I will come back in a while to just a few things as to, COVID-19, how that impacted you, etc., etc. But I want to talk about, recently you've been a bit ill.
Yes.
And it has to do with your feet, your legs.
Yeah.
You want to share a bit with us?
Yeah.
Kind of in a summary?
Yeah, summary. What happened is, because of my standing a lot, so what happened, my leg, I saw a little sore on my feet, because I use compression socks, but just after Father's Day, I saw that there's something on my feet. So I brought it to my wife's attention, and she's the one who don't sleep on those things. So she's the one who quickly said, "Well, Bolo, we can't waste no time. Bernard, we need to go to the doctor immediately." And my doctor is Dr. St. Louis, and she told me, "Well, boy, Bernard, I don't think we'll be able to get an appointment by Dr. St. Louis, because he's kind of busy." So she told me, "Well, okay, no problem. We'll just call Dr. St. Louis, find out to see if he has an appointment, and but we can go to Dr. Emmanuel, So, and then she set up the appointment. She called Dr. Emmanuel. Dr. Emmanuel said, "Yes, you can come in. You can walk in." And when we called Dr. St. Louis, he said, "Well, maybe I can see you maybe in the next 2 weeks." Okay. So that would have been
would not have worked for you guys.
No, that would not have worked. So I went to Dr. Emmanuel. He watched my feet, and he told me, "Oh yes, you have a sore," and yes, and he gave me some antibiotics because it looked like it was kind of like infected. He said just in case if it has an infection, so he gave me antibiotics and the cream to pass on the sore. And he was making a suggestion. He was saying that you can strip these veins and get rid of these problems and stuff like that. And immediately, we say, well, okay, the problem can be solved. We can do that. And then he recommended Dr. Frederick, that's the current doctor. He recommended he's a surgeon, and we went to Dr. Frederick, and right away when Dr. Frederick saw my feet, he said, "Well, Bolo, you know something? You need to rest. You need to put up your foot, and you need to rest because you need to recover. You're standing too much." So he told me, "Well, first of all, I'm going to start off with 1 month leave. 1 month.
So you're on leave as we speak?
Yeah, I'm on leave as we speak. So he gave me 1 month sick leave, and he said, "Well, you're starting with 1 month, and if this continues, we will give you another month. Just before your leave ends, come to see me."
Bottom line though, as we have to kind of move on, bottom line, Bolo, is that by the grace of God, there was a suggestion for surgery, but it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Thank God. So all you have to do is rest, put your feet up a bit, and probably get a stool or something when you do go back to work,
to take
put those feet up.
To take in between rest. But the other story, the same pastor that prophesied in my wife's life and mine, he came down for the anniversary because we were supposed to have the anniversary from the 4th down to the 5th of July. And what happened is he was supposed to be the one preaching on the Saturday. And what happened, he came down and he started working on my feet. He's one who has a gift from God, has done chiropractic care and worked on people who has poor circulations in their foot, and he has brought back their legs and to make them walk. And he worked on my legs.
Wonderful.
So I guess that in itself, because I had to go and do a test, and he worked on my leg even before that. So when we went to do the test, I guess when they looked at the test, they saw that I needed to do no surgery.
Thank God for that. Thank God for that. Okay, Bolo, a couple of things. How did COVID-19 affect you?
Well, COVID-19 affected me. What happened is I got affected for 3 months.
For 3 months.
Not selling.
Not selling.
Not earning an income. Imagine the government was saying that I could have gotten something from Social Security. They made an announcement. I think they called my name and all of that. People like Bolo can benefit, but that was not in my benefit.
You never benefited.
I never benefited anything from this in COVID. So.
But you recovered by the grace of God.
By the grace of God, God saw me through. The health department, I was keeping abreast with them to find out when we can come and sell and stuff like that. And once they gave the let go, I came.
Okay.
And we were back on track. And
thank God for that.
Thank God, and moving on.
Some of the challenges that you may have faced along this journey. Police harassment by any chance? Any other?
Oh boy. Looking back, I had some police harassment, and that started when Commissioner Carrot was there. Oh my God! I guess maybe people were complaining and that I was maybe blocking the sidewalk. I was doing things, and people, generally people sometimes interrupt your space. So, but God was working. But imagine that Carrot sent officers behind me, and they would come to me and they would tell me, Bolo, boy, the commissioner sent me behind you. But, where you can get not to go, we don't want to move you like that. He sent us to move you, but we don't want to move you like that. Where can you, can you put that cat on the sidewalk? Can you this? Can you that? And, they came to my consideration. But at one of these times, I was kind of like trying to maybe get an order from somebody in Bolo's drive-by service. So Carrot was passing at the same time, he was behind. And man, that guy came out of his vehicle. And he said, I already won you, and blah, blah, blah. And when I saw how angry he was, for times, I had to take his load, lift it, and then rest it down. Because when he came, he was maybe expecting me to react. And I said, yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir.
And that was it.
And that was it. And then he took his vehicle, he went. And I said, man, that is something that is happening there that is not easy. So I said, I went home and I prayed about that situation, and Carrot retired, and I really got harassed by it.
The last thing before we get ready to wrap up, because my battery is dying on this phone and I wouldn't want it to die out on us. The ants in the feet.
Yes.
People want to know, what is that?
Oh.
How did that come about?
I for one believe that it was the gift of God. God gave me a gift, and he said that your gift will make way for you. Even to see kings, and so that's my gift God has given to me. So I can't tell you how it is, but I just do what I do. And there's a passion in doing what I do. I love what I do. It's because I love what I do. That's why I do it with so much passion and so much, speed, and I enjoy doing what I do. So people out there, do what you enjoy to do. If you're working in a workplace and you're not in your zone of your comfort and you're not happy, I mean, this won't make you happy. You won't fulfill, that purpose that you are here for. You need to see what is your gift and your purpose that you are here for. And I think that this is my purpose, that God has, given me that gift to deal with people, to react to deal with customers, as fast as I do. Because it's like entertainment. This thing is like entertainment, so I enjoy entertaining my customers.
What does the future look like for Bolo's mobile hot dogs as we get ready to wrap up?
Okay, I think the future looks very bright right about now. What I thought that was not possible is very possible. So moving on, I see that I can train some young person, to fall in my footsteps. But I'm always looking for somebody who is passionate, wants to do it.
Correct.
I don't want to put somebody there that is not passionate about the job, because you won't serve people in the way that you should serve people. Doing something with passion, it tells to the customers, and it gives your first reaction that somebody would face, they would get a good and warm kind of feeling, that person, I just have to buy from.
Is that your daughter? Is Ebenezer your daughter?
Yes, she is.
So she's saying, because you have to get somebody because she can't do it. Bolo, we really have to wrap up, because as I said, I do not want the battery to die out on us. We are probably about 4% now.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this, Bolo. I really enjoyed it, and I'm happy that I had the opportunity to give you the platform. This is almost like an exclusive interview, for me in the spotlight. I think all of my interviews are, but I think this one, is really one people were looking forward to hear your story. And I think you shared it in a very beautiful, honest way tonight. I want to give you the opportunity to share some final comments with us, and to remind persons that it is your 20th anniversary of Bolo's Mobile Hot Dogs, and what is still to come.
Okay, I just want to thank all you all for listening on the live, and I thank God for being here, and I thank God for my family, my wife, and my daughter is right now listening. And hi, Abby, good night, and hi, babes. How are you? All right, so right about now, I should be back at work on the 24th. So my working time should be back on the 24th, and we have a lot planned for this week of activities. So we are going to be giving 6 lucky customers will win a coupon of $100 to shop at Greens Wholesale or Greens, any of the Greens outlets. So they'll be getting $100 coupon. But in order for you to get in that coupon, you have to buy for this week. So any customer who comes and buys this in that week of the 24th leading up to the 28th and 29th, they are going to get a chance to win $100 voucher. So you can win. So you can win with Bolo. And 20 years, we are giving back plenty. So, and even on the Friday, there's big things happening. We're going to have music accompaniment, music played by D-Bob, not the Calypsonian D-Bob, but the one that plays the pan.
Bob,
The pan. So you're going to be serenaded by pan, and this guy can play. So I know he's going to do a good job. So you can come and listen, and I think Emo might be there, so you can listen on Emo as well. So we got big things going on, and just imagine students on 16 and under gonna get a free hot dog on that first day. And Bolo is going to be giving out the cups. We have cups giving out.
Save mine.
Sip cups.
Cups.
So it's reusable cups, so you can come back with your cups and buy your juice.
That's right. Bolo, final words, we are 2%.
2%.
Yeah.
Whoa, oh my God.
Final
And
words.
Saturday as well, we have Hilltop Singer is going to be there serenading us as well, and still giving away of cups, and it's going to have the final draw where you can get your coupons. So, and I just want to say final words. Thank you, customers, for supporting BOLO for 20 years.
I love it.
I am indeed grateful for you all. I'm indeed grateful. Thank God for you all.
Wonderful.
Without you all, I would not have been who I am today. So I thank God for all of
thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
And they're sending you lots of hearts. Just send him some hearts, send him some love.
Yeah.
BOLO, it was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you
So much for being here. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And I wish you good health and healing.
Yes.
And I hope that everything works out for you beautifully
You.
with your business.
Thanks.
And I hope you find this young person, with the passion to help you continue.
I'm
Not Abby, but whoever.
She already told me
Alright,
she don't want to be in that. But anyway, this Thursday I'm celebrating my wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
22 years.
As well.
Yes.
Awesome, miss. Thank you so much, BOLO.
Thanks.
Thank you. We didn't have time die.
Thank God.
Hey guys, that's a wrap on the In the Spotlight radio show for tonight. We thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back here next week, Monday, for another show. Remember to follow our In the Spotlight radio show page. Also join the group, Spotlight.